Hey guys, Jim here with another video for you. This is my 20 favorite mobster slash crime dramas that I have on Blu-ray. But before we begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe. But most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about these films. Let me know how you would rank your films if you had a ranking. Let me know what films I missed. So I posted a poll about a week ago asking what my next ranking video should be, and this is the one that won. And when I was going through this, I decided to strictly keep this to dramas. So I'm not including any kind of crime action films like The Professional or crime comedies like Snatch and In Bruges. I'm more or less trying to stick to either organized crime movies or movies that have to involve characters from that general world in the genre, okay? And I want to stress that these rankings are strictly on my own personal feelings. It's just about what I want to watch. It has nothing to do with quality of film, although the overwhelming majority of films in this list are of the utmost quality. I think we would all agree. So let's just go ahead. We're not going to get into plots. We're just going to shoot from 20 all the way down to 1. And let's begin. We're going to start with number 20. And this one's kind of a guilty pleasure, but I have a soft spot for it. Mobsters. With Christian Slater, Patrick Dempsey, Anthony Quinn. This movie's got a great cast. Okay, F. Murray Abraham. This one was directed by Michael Kabelnikoff, I guess. I don't know. This has to do with Bugsy Siegel and gangsters when they were young. It's kind of like Young Gangsters instead of Young Guns, okay? Really goofy movie. It's not the best, but again, I'll always have a soft spot for this movie. So number 20 is Mobsters. Number 19, Black Mass, starring Johnny Depp, Joel Edgerton, Kevin Bacon, and Benedict Cumberbatch, among others. This is the story of Whitey Bulger, who was a notorious gangster from Boston. This one is directed by Scott Cooper. Decent movie. It's not great, okay, but it's decent mainly because of the performances. This movie's got a great cast. It's a little slow, but when it actually hits, it's really good. And Johnny Depp puts in a very good performance in this movie. Number 18, The Lady in Red. This is part of a double feature disc, so I flipped over the artwork. This shows two posters of the original artwork, one foreign and with its alternate title of Guns, Sin, and Bathtub Gin. This one is directed by Louis Teague, and it stars Pamela Sue Martin, Robert Conrad, Christopher Lloyd, and Louise Fletcher. This is the Dillinger story. And this is a Roger Corman B movie written by John Sayles, who went on to much bigger and better things. But I really like this movie. I've always liked it. I watched it originally as a kid because Pamela Sue Martin was Nancy Drew on TV at the time, and I wanted to see her naked. I'm sorry, I was a horny little kid, but this is a really good movie. Next, we have another Johnny Depp performance in Public Enemies. Johnny Depp, Christian Bale. This one is directed by Michael Mann. And again, this has to do with Dillinger, just like the previous movie. And in this case, Johnny Depp plays Dillinger, and Christian Bale plays the Fed who is after him. Solid movie. Again, not the best, but solid, great performances. Next, our first but not last Martin Scorsese film from this list, Mean Streets, with Robert De Niro and Harvey Keitel. This was like Martin Scorsese's calling card to Hollywood before Taxi Driver put him definitely over the top. And definitely this was a big jump in the careers of Robert De Niro and Harvey Keitel. Again, it's not one of Scorsese's best movies, but it is definitely one of his most well-regarded films. And It's a great movie. It really is. Speaking of Scorsese, here's another one. Gangs of New York. With Leonardo DiCaprio, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Cameron Diaz, who I really like, but God, is she horrible in this movie. I'm sorry. But Daniel Day-Lewis is fantastic, as always. This came out in 99, I believe. 99 or 2000, one of the two, I'm sorry. But this has to do with the immigrants when they first come into New York and the struggles that they were going with the different clans involved. And basically, these were the first organized gangs in America. Great movie. It's one of those epic movies. I don't think it gets the love it deserves. Again, I don't think this is top tier Scorsese, but it's still excellent in my opinion. Okay, next. From David Cronenberg, Eastern Promises, starring Viggo Mortensen, Naomi Watts, Vincent Cassel, and Armin Mueller-Stahl. This has to deal with the Russian mafia. And I love this movie. I think it's great. I think Viggo Mortensen gives one of his best performances in this movie. Vincent Cassel is awesome in this movie. This one kind of flew under the radar, but it's really good. So if you've never seen Eastern Promises, I can't recommend it enough. Okay, we're getting down to it now. Next, we have the first film from Brian De Palma on our list. And it is Carlito's Way, starring Al Pacino, Sean Penn, John Leguizamo, and Penelope Ann Miller. This is about a gangster trying to go legit and the trials and tribulations that happen when he tries to do so after coming out of prison. It's a very mature movie. It's not an action film. It's really good. Carlito's Way, again, one of those underrated classics that doesn't get enough love. Number 12, American Gangster, starring Denzel Washington, Russell Crowe, and a truly outstanding supporting cast. Cuba Gooding Jr., Ruby Dee. This is a great movie, and again, it's based on a true story. I really enjoyed this movie. I think both leads give incredible performances, and like I said, it is based on a true story. Very rarely do you get to see African-American gangster movies that aren't involving gangbangers. This is a great, great film. Number 11, our second David Cronenberg film, A History of Violence. Again, starring Viggo Mortensen, Ed Harris, and William Hurt. Again, this isn't your traditional mob movie, but it is very integral into the plot. And again, like Eastern Promises, incredible film from a filmmaker that you wouldn't expect greatness from outside of the horror genre. David Cronenberg is a master filmmaker, and this is one of his absolute best movies. Okay, top 10. Number 10, our second film from Michael Mann, Collateral, starring Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx, Javier Bardem, and Jada Pinkett Smith. Again, this isn't your traditional gangster movie, so to speak. However, Tom Cruise is a professional hitman in this movie, and there is definite plot elements that has to deal with organized crime. So that is the main reason why Collateral is on this list. Not to mention, it's just a kick-ass film. Next, Ronin, from John Frankenheimer, starring Robert De Niro, Jean Reno, Jonathan Pryce, Stellan Skarsgård, and Natasha McLone. Again, not your traditional organized crime movie. However, again, you have a bunch of different criminals getting together to do a job, and to me, that fits into this genre. And again, kick-ass movie. Has one of the best car chases in modern cinema. Great movie. Number 8. Our next Martin Scorsese film, The Departed, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, and Martin Sheen, among others. This is a remake of Infernal Affairs, and again, great movie filled with incredible performances. I would go so far as to say that this is almost a perfect movie until the last shot. I hate the last shot of this movie. Other than that, I love this film. Next, another Michael Mann film, Heat, starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, so many others. This movie's got an incredible cast, and it's an incredible movie. One of the best shootout scenes ever in a movie. Not to mention the scene where De Niro and Al Pacino simply just sit down in a coffee shop and do nothing more than talk for the next 10 minutes, and it's a masterclass of acting, and I was riveted every time I watched that scene. This movie is fantastic. I have a feeling in the next 20 years, it's going to become a bona fide classic. Speaking of Al Pacino, he's back with Brian De Palma's Scarface. Scarface, to me, is just one of those immensely entertaining movies that I could watch again and again and again and never get bored. It is so over the top, so 80s. I mean, this movie epitomizes the 80s better than most. It is just a roller coaster ride. However, like I said, most people don't even understand that this movie is not a happy movie. You should not emulate this guy, but again, what a ride. I love Scarface. Always have, always will. Okay, we're getting down to it. Next we have Casino from Martin Scorsese again, starring Robert De Niro again, Sharon Stone, Joe Pesci. Incredible cast in this movie. And this movie gets shit on a lot. People say it's too long or it's not as good as Goodfellas. Who cares? This movie's awesome. I love Casino. Next, another Brian De Palma film, The Untouchables. Again, starring Robert De Niro. He's in a lot of these movies. Kevin Costner, Andy Garcia, and in his Academy Award-winning performance, the late, great Sean Connery. Again, one of the most entertaining movies of the 80s. Being from the Chicago area, I have a lot of love for this movie and always have. And yeah, The Untouchables is great. Come on, it's great. Okay, we are down to the top 3. Number 3, from my Godfather collection, Godfather Part II. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola, starring Al Pacino, Robert Duvall, Robert De Niro, and Diane Keaton. Quite honestly, The Godfather II is a masterpiece. It is the only sequel to win Best Picture. And it totally deserves it. I flip-flop back and forth over which movie I enjoy more, but to me, this is kind of a cheat because I had to rank them, but to me, they are equally great. I do not watch one without watching the other. So number 3 is The Godfather Part II, which means number 2 has to be Godfather Part I, since to me they are equally great. Again, directed by Francis Ford Coppola and starring Al Pacino, Robert Duvall, James Caan, and in his Academy Award-winning role, even though he did not accept it, Marlon Brando. This is, pardon the pun, the godfather of all mafia movies. This is the blueprint that they all have tried to follow since and for the most part have failed. Quite honestly, like the sequel, it's a masterpiece. It also won Best Picture. And again, only movie in history that Not only won an Oscar, but so did its sequel. It's just an incredible, incredible achievement in film, and it holds up all these years later. But my favorite mafia movie, and it shouldn't be much of a surprise because I've gone on record many times, Martin Scorsese's incredible Goodfellas from 1990, starring Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Ray Liotta. Goodfellas, like I said, it's not only my favorite organized crime movie, it's one of my favorite movies ever. Uh, I could watch it over and over and never get bored. It's just a perfect movie in my opinion. It really is. It's the performances, the music, the cinematography, the camera shots, the writing, the directing, everything is top notch in Goodfellas. So that is why it is number one on my list. So to recap, number one is Goodfellas. Number two is The Godfather. Number three is The Godfather Part II. Number four is The Untouchables. Number five is Casino. Number six is Scarface. Number seven is Heat. Number eight is The Departed. Number nine is Ronin. Number 10 is Collateral. Number 11 is A History of Violence. 12 is American Gangster. 13 is Carlito's Way. 14 is Eastern Promises. 15 is Gangs in New York. 16 is Mean Streets. 17 is Public Enemies. 18 is The Lady in Red. 19 is Black Mass. And number 20 is Mobsters. Honorable mention, I would have The Irishman, which is also directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. So I hope you enjoyed these rankings. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave those comments below. I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you on the next one.